This is LSAT PrepTest 20, Section 3, questions 13 through 18, the third logic game of PrepTest 20. Okay, so what do we have? We have a jeweler makes a single strand of beads by threading onto a string in a single direction from a clasp, a series of solid colored beads. Okay, so we have a clasp here, and then basically there's a string, and then we're going to put beads on in some order. Okay, each bead is either green, orange, purple, red, or yellow. Green, orange, purple, red, or yellow. The resulting strand satisfies the following specifications. Okay, so 1. If a purple bead is adjacent to a yellow bead, so if P and Y are adjacent, or in some order, any bead that immediately follows and any bead that immediately precedes that pair must be red. Okay, so if there's a bead in front of them, it must be red. If there's a bead that's after it, it also must be red. And what's important to notice here is that they don't tell you that if these two guys are next to each other, that there must be red beads around them always. They're saying that any beads that are around them must be red. In other words, they must be surrounded by red beads, right? So what they're doing is that, for example, like if you have purple and yellow as the first two from the clasp, right? You have to have a red here, but then you don't have to have a red here because all it says is that any bead that immediately follows or precedes is red. Like it doesn't imply that there's a bead that has to be there at all times, right? So that's a subtle point to sort of realize here. That's why I've placed these in parentheses, right? If there's something before it, it's red. If there's something after it, it's red as well. Okay, next rule. Any pair of beads adjacent to each other that are the same color as each other must be green. Okay, so basically green is the only is the only possible repeat colors that can happen, right? Or no dupe, or no duplicates. I guess duplicate's a bad word. Let's roll with a repeat. No repeat, right? Like orange, purple, red, and yellow all cannot repeat. Like if you have one of these four colors, the next one's also got to be a different color. Okay, no orange bead can be adjacent to any red bead. So orange, red, in any order, no way. Any portion of the strand containing 8 consecutive beads must include at least one bead of 8 colors. So if 8 in a row, you have to have at least one of each color, something like that. Like that one's a little hard to represent graphically, but it only happens if you're gonna have 8 beads in a row. Anyway, and this actually tells me two things, right? The first thing it tells me is obviously what the rule says. But the second thing it tells me is that you don't necessarily have to have 8 beads in a row, right? Because that's the conditional nature of this fourth rule, right? So that's something that I didn't really consider beforehand. They never told us how many beads are on this chain, and now we know there's a good reason for it, right? Because depending on whether or not they're 8 in a row or not, it could very well be the case that you have to have one of each color, or maybe you don't, right? Okay, so I mean, not a ton of deductions to make here. Basically, it seems like they're gonna have to give us a little bit more information, and I mean, other than that, we can just roll to the questions. There's no way that we're gonna be able to split these into scenarios or anything like that, for instance. Okay, so if a purple bead, or I'm sorry, if the strand, I was reading the rules again, if the strand has exactly 8 beads, which one of the following is in acceptable order starting from the class for the 8 beads? Okay, so now we do have 8 beads, so this rule triggers, right? If we have 8 in a row, we have to have at least one of each color. So okay, let's actually reproduce these so we can really see the answer choices in sort of full length. P-Y-R-G G-O-Y-O. Choice D. R-O-R-Y. P-G-Y-G. And answer choice E is R-Y-P-R-G-R-G-G. Okay, so now we're just going to look for things that are wrong with them. So let's start with actually this one's probably the easiest to. Probably rule number 3 is probably the easiest. If you see O-R anywhere together, they can't be right. So R, O-R here together means it's not right. O-N-R, no. O-N-R, no. This one doesn't have no at all, so actually that violates rule number 4, right? There's no orange here, and in a string of 8 beads, there's got to be at least one of each color. So answer is E is also out. So immediately, just by these two rules, we're down to 2, right? Okay, so it's either we have purple, yellow with reds around them, or we have 2 greens, or there's no repeats. And this one seems like the easier rule to tackle. So let's actually do that. And it turns out it looks like right here, red, right? Can't have that, right? And so just to convince yourself, right? Purple, yellow, and then red is here. And so see this this sequence right here, right? If you didn't realize that, red, that it doesn't have to be red, purple, yellow, red, that it can be depending on where it comes in the class, like this first one and the last one don't have to be there, well, now you know, right? Like this answer choice being correct tells you the information that you should have figured out up here, but if you didn't, it's no big deal, because now you know, right? Okay. So now 14. So it says that if orange bead is the fourth one from the class, so the clasp is here, right, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Orange bead is right here, right? We don't know whether there's more, right? That's important to realize. We don't know whether there are any more, but we do know that orange is fourth from the clasp. Okay, so which of the following is a pair that could be second and third respectively? Okay, so once again, I feel like we should just go ahead and reproduce these answer choices. So green, orange, green, red, purple, purple, yellow, green, yellow, purple. Okay, so we want to know what could go in these two slots, 2 and 3. Right, so clearly it's not yellow, purple, right? Because that would violate our rule that red's got to be around it. What else could it not be? It can't be green and orange because orange and orange would repeat in that scenario, right? Okay, could it be green and red? Green, red, orange. Seems okay, I guess. Purple, purple, something purple, purple. No, because you can't have repeats other than green, right? Blank, yellow, green, blank. Also seems okay. But then, so there's got to be one of these two, green, red, or yellow, green, that isn't right. Oh, and it turns out it's green, red. Why? Because red and yellow, or red and orange rather, can't ever stick together. Right. So 14's answer is D. Okay, 15. If on an 8-bead strand, the second, third, and fourth beads are red, green. Okay, so 8's. So there's 8 beads on the strand. 2, 3, and 4 are red, green, and yellow. Red, green, yellow. Okay. And the 6th and 7th are purple and red. Oh, they give us tons of information here. Okay, which of the following must be true? Okay, so basically, it looks to me like, well, if there's a red here, this can't be orange. If there's a red here, this can't be orange, right? And there also can't be any repeats, right? So there's no red here. Here, there's no yellow. There's no purple. Here, there is no red as well, right? Okay, what else do we know? If you have, I guess, purple, yellow in some kind of combination, it means that red's got to surround it. So I guess we already know that it can't be yellow and it can't be purple. How about orange and red? Orange and red can't repeat. We got those already. And if there's 8 in a row, there's got to be at least one of every color. Okay, so we've taken care of red, green, yellow, red, green, yellow, purple. So we need an orange. We need an orange somewhere here, right? This last rule is going to be the key to this question. Can we put the orange here? No. Can we put the orange here? No. So therefore, it must go here, right? Orange has to be in here because there's no other way we can place it, and we have to place an orange. Okay, so looking through the answer choices, what must be true? First bead is purple. It doesn't have to be purple. It just can't be orange or red. Second, the 5th bead is green. The 5th bead actually, it can't be green because it has to be orange. The 5th bead is orange. There we go. Answer choice C is your correct answer here. Looking at these, answer choice D, the 8th bead is orange. It actually can't be orange. That actually must be false. Answer choice E, the 8th bead is yellow. That could be, but it doesn't have to be, right? So answer choice C here is going to be your answer. Let's get rid of this O so that we don't confuse ourselves later on. Okay, sure. Let's move to 16. 16 says if on a 6-bead strand, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this rule doesn't apply, right? Because there's not 8 in a row. So 6-bead strand. First and second beads from the class are purple and yellow. This one's purple and yellow. Okay, so immediately I remember my first rule here. Purple and yellow means that this one must be red, right? Then the 5th and 6th beads cannot be blank. Okay, so basically this red means there's no orange here. There's also no red here, right? Okay, so looking at these answer choices, A, B, C, D, and E. Answer choice A, green and orange. I don't see, like, actually, the thing is that we don't really know anything about these two slots whatsoever, right? So green and orange, orange and green, orange and yellow, purple and orange. None of those violate any rules, right? But answer choice E. Look at answer choice E. Yellow and purple, right? If we put yellow and purple here, what do we know? It means that once again we apply this rule, which means that red has to be here. Except, hold on a second, red can't be there, right? So answer choice E is going to be the correct answer. The strategy for this question is basically that, given that you realize that you don't know anything about these two slots, what you're looking to do is basically you're looking for an answer choice that violates one of your rules. And so like this is one of the things that will violate one of your rules, right? So another one is that, if you went through these answer choices and there was like a repeat, it was like red red or purple purple, then you know that that's also going to violate a rule. Or if you have like orange yellow, orange red, or red orange, that would also violate a rule, right? None of those are here though. So answer choice E is the only one that even remotely resembles one of your rules. So that's the one you want to look at first, right? And it turns out that it can't actually be the case. And so without really having to dive into the details of the other ones, you get your answer and you can just move on. Okay. How about 17? If on a 9-bead strand, the first and fourth beads from the class were purple. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The first and fourth are purple. So 1, 2, 3, 4. First and four are purple. 2 and 5 are yellow. Okay, so what do we immediately know? We know that purple and yellow have to be surrounded by red. Which of the following could be true? Okay, so the tricky thing about this is now we have a strand of 9, right? So this first 8 has to have at least one of every color, and this second 8 also has to have one of every color, right? Like see what the rule says. If you have 8 in a row, you got to have one of every color within those boundaries, right? So here, it actually doesn't look like that rule is going to matter very much because we have yellow, red, and purple, in both the blue brackets and the green brackets, right? But the blue brackets are the ones that are important, right? Because we have the strand of 8. We've only got 3 colors, and those 3 colors both repeat twice, right? So we need to have all 5 colors, which means that the last 2 slots here have to be some combination of green and orange, right? And actually, I'm not sure what else is in these answer choices, but at the very least, we know that this has to be true, right? And so by putting green and orange here, what we also do is we make this rule 4 okay for the green brackets. Okay. So let's look at these answer choices. So answer choice A, the 7th bead is orange. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it seems like it could be true, right? Except hold on a second. If we put orange here, that means orange is next to red. So actually that can't be true. And so now we've even gone a little further than that. Instead of saying green or orange in those slots, now it actually has to be green, then orange, right? Okay, so that's great. Answer choice B, the 8th bead is green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, since we just figured that out, right, we know the 8th bead's got to be orange. How about C, the 8th bead is red? No, has to be orange. The 9th bead is red. Can R go here? No, because O and R would be next to each other in that case. So it must be E. The 9th bead is yellow. That is just very generic, very unoffending answer choice right here. It just doesn't violate any of our rules, and that's good enough for us in this case. Answer choice E is the answer to 17. Okay, home stretch. If on an 8-bead strand, so 8-bead strand, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The first, second, third, and fourth are red, yellow, green, red. Red, yellow, green, red. Okay. The 5th and 6th beads cannot be. Okay. Red, yellow, green, and red. Okay, so we're looking for these two. Well, let's actually make this a different color to make it stand out. 5th and 6th slots cannot be. Okay. So basically, we have 8 strands, right? So we know that we need to, in addition to red, yellow, green, we also need an orange and a purple, right? So we need to put orange and purple somewhere in these 4 slots, and then from there we have to figure out, basically this is a cannot question, right? So one of these is the one that cannot go in these 2 slots, which means that the other 4 can go into those slots, right? Okay. So looking through these answer choices, immediately answer choice D attracts my attention. Because once again, like green and orange, green and purple, purple, orange, yellow and orange, those are just kind of whatever, right? Like if orange was in the 5th slot, so the first one of this pair, then we could definitely eliminate those. But like the rest of those just don't seem very offensive. It's not likely that they're going to break any rules. But answer choice D, right? We know that answer choice D, this purple yellow thing, has reasonably restrictive rules attached to it, right? Okay, so let's actually just try answer choice D first, right? Let's say that purple is in 5, and yellow is in 6, right? That's what answer choice D says. Well, okay, so since we have purple and yellow together, that means red has to be 7th, So we've taken care of our obligation to put purple in there, which means we have to put an orange in there. Uh-oh. This violates a rule, right? You can't have this. So answer choice D ends up not being possible, right? And again, the strategy, very, very similar to question 16, is that you see this yellow-purple in your answer choices, and it's like, okay, that's something that has rules attached to it. The rest of these don't have, like, frankly, they just don't have rules attached to them. There's not very many rules here. Like, basically, if you just have orange and red, sort of away from each other, and then as long as you make sure there's no repeats, you're basically fine except for this one rule, right? So the moment that you see purple and yellow together, that should send like alarm bells going off in your head saying that, oh, like this is something that I should probably explore, right? So that's why my eye immediately jumped to answer choice D, why it's the correct answer. If you really want to, you can go ahead and check the rest of them, like for example, answer choice A, R, Y, G, R, G, O, and then, oh, yeah, you just have to put a P in here somewhere, and that's fine, and you can just do whatever you want, right? There's not very many restrictions as far as that's concerned. And the same is true for B, C, and E. You can take my word for it, or if you want to, on your own time, you can go ahead and prove it to yourself. But anyway, the bottom line being that these are the answers to the logic game, and that's all there is to it.